One of the most complex resources or activities in Moodle is the lesson. And you would have seen the lesson in the first Moodle course. If you did it, it was, well, I'll show you. Lesson 1, Getting Comfortable with Moodle. And you notice that when you click on it, you're taken to a series of HTML screens that not only take you from one to the next, but also provide the opportunity for questions as well. So here it has test your knowledge, and you're given a multiple choice question. You can be given a whole variety of these. And it drives you through the learning content, and at the same time does incorporates knowledge checks, and can also take you along different paths given different performance on different questions. So it's a really complex and rich learning activity. And in this video, we're going to see how you can set them up. So as normal, we always ensure that the first thing that we do is turn editing on, get into the editing mode, and we're in that. And then we are going to actually create a lesson for ourselves. So we click on Add an Activity or Resource. Lesson is here. And remember, there's a lot of help that's always given when you click on the activity or the resource. You can brush through that when you're going through and doing this yourself. We're going to do it fairly quickly so that we can see how it's done. So we click on Add. Now we're going to just create a basic lesson. There are many ways that you can enrich and expand on this. Once you create the basic lesson, then you can have the principle behind how you create these things. Note also that it's usually best to plan the lesson out before you go in and create it. And when you see what's involved, you'll see why I'm suggesting this. So I'm going to call this and I'll display this on the home page. Parents, availability, prerequisite lesson. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about these things. We've already seen how you can manipulate them in other courses. I am, however, going to check on the prerequisite lesson. Now, let's say that you want to make this dependent on an earlier lesson. You can add it in here. Of course, you can always add prerequisites in the restrict access section as well. But this gives you an opportunity also to restrict to specific learning conditions. For example, time spent in a certain lesson, whether it's completed or not, or whether the person gets a specific grade in that lesson. And yes, lessons can be graded if you wish. Flow control, this refers to whether students can go back. I'm going to put it in this case. Provide the option to try the question again. So if a student doesn't get the question correct, you can provide feedback immediately, or you can give them the opportunity of going back and correcting it. Then I'm going to put yes. Action after correct answer. Yeah, follow the lesson path. You could also put an unseen page or an unanswered page as well. Maximum number of attempts. I'm going to put 3. Number of pages to show. I'm just going to leave that as 0. Grade. And I'm going to say we're not going to have any grade. We're just going to put no grade. Grade category. It doesn't matter since it's no grade. And I'm going to put it's just a practice lesson, so the score is not actually recorded onto this score sheet. Custom scoring. Retakes allowed. Use mean. Blah 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 blah. So those you can check yourselves. Outcomes. We're not going to use outcomes for this. Common module settings and restrict access. So those are the settings that you put in. At this point, we hit save and display, and you're taken to a screen that asks you to input your first page. And you can do one of several things. One, you can import questions. We're not really going to worry about that, but so let's say that you can do one of 3 things. You can either add a content page, and that would be a page with learning content, video, images, text, whatever the case might be. You can add a cluster, and that is a series of questions from which one question will be picked randomly, or you can add a question page. And a question page I normally use just to test knowledge. So I normally wouldn't start out with a question page, but you can. In particular, you can start out with a question page that allows you to determine what the level of expertise your learner is at, and hence what path that learner should take through your lesson. So that's an option as well. Because as I said earlier, lessons can have several different learning paths. To learn how to actually add content to your lesson, please watch the part 2 video, the Moodle lesson.